Good afternoon, everyone. This is Matt Erpelding, Vice President of Government and Community Relations from the Boise Metro Chamber of Commerce. And today we have a great presentation planned, but before we start, I just wanted to note that the Boise Metro Chamber of Commerce is the only 5-star accredited member of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce in Idaho. And to that end, we are very proud of the educational programming that we provide to the Treasure Valley and our interest in advancing businesses across the entire state. Today, we have an incredible speaker for our CEO Speaker Series, which is one of our educational bedrocks and has been a part of the organization for many, many years. Today, however, is the first day that we are offering a virtual CEO Speaker Series. The Boise Metro Chamber of Commerce is a nonprofit organization committed to our membership. We also rely heavily on the investment and the commitment of our members to help us deliver high quality educational programming. Today, we have our presenting sponsor, Bank of America, and we have our co-sponsors, Regents, Blue Cross of Idaho, the Boise Airport, and the Idaho Business Review that are also committed to advancing excellence and pursuing high quality businesses in Idaho. Before we start, I'd just like to kick over to Aaron Dykes from Bank of America so he can have the opportunity to introduce our speaker today.
Thank you, Matt, and thank you to the rest of the Boise Metro Chamber team for this great partnership and to deliver another CEO Speaker Series presentation. I'm Aaron Dykes, Resident Director for the Boise Merrill Lynch team and a member of the Bank of America Idaho leadership team. For more than 230 years, Bank of America has played a critical role in developing the U.S. and the global economy. We're here to help tackle what matters most to the people and the communities that we serve by listening to their needs and providing the guidance and resources that can help them do and achieve more. We're proud to partner with the Boise Metro Chamber, who continues to promote community vitality and economic prosperity for our region. Today, we're thrilled to be able to bring this virtual event to you as part of our ongoing commitment to improving economic mobility and making financial lives better in Boise. It's my pleasure to introduce to you today's speaker, Kate Morris. Kate is the President and General Manager for KTVB News Group, Idaho's largest media organization. Dedication to building a stronger economy is at the core of KTVB's mission, a mission that's remained unchanged even during these trying times. Kate will share how broadcasting has evolved over the course of this year and what marketing trends have defined their direction as they continue to build connections in the community. Kate, we appreciate you joining us today. We look forward to your perspective and your insights. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Aaron. Also, thank you to Bank of America, as well as all of today's sponsors, including the Boise Airport, Blue Cross of Idaho, Idaho Business Review, Regents Blue Shield of Idaho, and co-sponsor Boise State University. I think it's important to mention them more than once because each of our sponsors today are really thoughtful community partners and important businesses in our community. Our chamber is so critically important. They connect us and serve as a voice for our local business community. They rely on events and generous sponsors to continue to do important advocacy work that has no doubt helped shape the community that we enjoy today. So thank you to those of you who continue to support the Chamber, and truly a heartfelt thank you to the Boise Metro Chamber for the invitation today and for all that you have done, particularly in the last 5 months, helping businesses navigate the complexities that have come with the pandemic. I was looking forward to seeing you all in person today. Delivering my remarks to a screen isn't all that unfamiliar to me, having worked in television for over 20 years. But it's not something that I do very often, if ever. So while we may be physically distant today, we are still deeply connected by a community that we all love. And really, it's that connection that I wanted to frame my remarks around today. When I was originally asked to do the speaker series, I thought I would be talking to you about connection on the heels of the 2020 Olympic Games, but that will just have to wait till next year. Like the Chamber, we at KTVB endeavor to build strong, lasting connections, be it connections to your community or connections to local products and services. Every day we are connecting people to the information that they need to keep their family safe or plan their day or make important decisions about their life. I'll talk more about all of that in a minute, as well as how KTVB has been working to serve the community better than ever while rising to the challenges of 2020. First, however, I want to share just a little bit about myself. I get asked a lot where I'm from, and people are nearly always surprised by my answer. The truth is that I was born and raised right here in the Treasure Valley. My grandparents were farmers, and I grew up spending a lot of my time on their farm in Sand Hollow. I grew up in Nampa, went to Valley View High School, and watched Channel 7 nearly every evening after school with my dad. I grew up wanting to be a storyteller and a journalist. And that's what led me to my very first job at age 16 at KIVI in Nampa. I started producing local news for them when I was 17, given my first promotion by someone that's probably familiar to a lot of you, Emmy-winning journalist Jessica Flynn, who's now the CEO of Red Sky Public Relations. After high school, I left and attended the Cronkite School at Arizona State University. I went to school full-time at Arizona State while also producing news full-time at Fox 10 in Phoenix. But home was calling, and after 4 years, my husband Sean and I decided to come back to Idaho. It wasn't long before I was tasked with leading the team that I grew up watching at KTVB. I spent 7 years as the executive news director before taking over for Doug Armstrong 2.5 years ago as president and general manager of both KTVB in Boise and KTFT in Twin Falls. Now, I share my early background mostly to articulate how much I know this community, how connected that I feel to it. I truly care about the people and all the individual communities that make up our vibrant valley, our businesses, and of course, as a mom of 3 and a proud Idahoan, I care deeply about our future. The challenges that we face either as parents or employers navigating the rest of 2020 will not be easy. But we are all in this together. And despite the division that we often feel is all around us, we are connected in more ways than we are divided. We have been through so much together already this year. And at KTVB, we have had a front row seat. So we put together a look back at 2020 in Idaho, including some good news. You'll also see a few of the ways that our team at KTVB has continued to innovate and serve our community through a turbulent year. Take a look.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You might be noticing something different about today's show. It's a whole new look and a whole new name. Yeah, we're calling it the 208.
Begin tonight with a number of confirmed COVID-19 coronavirus
issuing a statewide stay-home order for all.
The 6.5 magnitude quake rattled Idaho and the rest of the Pacific Northwest just before 6 o'clock Mountain Time.
We raised enough money to buy 2,000 lunches, a little over $19,000.
Results are in for the first round of a new COVID-19 antibody testing here in the Treasure Valley.
We want to say thank you to all of our viewers that donated and came together to help others in our community.
With the rain, the headline of the day, drastically impacting Idaho roads this afternoon.
She took that time out of her busy day to pray and send positive vibes to Lucas and our family.
There were over 5,000 people gathered at the State House for last night's Black Lives Matter vigil.
How about Bogus Basin? 7 inches of snow this morning.
The area is also still moving, which is also delaying the work that crews can do right now.
Discovered by the Neowise satellite that searches the galaxy to find asteroids and comets that will pass close to Earth.
And it's his unique athletic ability that saved this woman's life.
Health officials in Ada County believe masks are working. They say they're seeing some positive effects since the order was enacted 4 weeks ago.
Wow, that was only half the year. We have so much more to tackle before we get to 2021. I want to talk a little bit about the history and legacy of KTVB. As I mentioned, I took over for Doug Armstrong in 2018. He was the station's second general manager, which makes me the third. KTVB was the state's first television station, founded in 1953 by Georgia Davidson. She was a pioneer, just one of a handful of female station owners in the country. KTVB quickly became a vital part of the community, as it is to this day. Over the years, we have led the way with a long history of firsts, but have been the top-rated broadcast station for news for more than 30 years, a feat nearly unmatched in the broadcast industry. Today, KTVB is a part of TEGNA, and we are thankful to have a parent company that is innovative and truly dedicated to serving the greater good of all the communities that we serve. The KTVB News Group is Idaho's largest media organization, reaching more Idahoans each day with news, entertainment, and local content with the state's most visited website and top-ranked mobile app, in addition to our expanding social media network. But really, the people behind KTVB are what it's about. They are dedicated to providing top-quality news, as well as dynamic solutions to help grow businesses. They are also very dedicated to building a stronger community. And I'll tell you, our tagline, "Where the news comes first," has never been more meaningful than the past 5 months. I believe I speak for all of our staff when I say our job has never carried more meaning and purpose. Already in a disrupted industry, we have had to quickly adapt without skipping a beat. And truly, this is the most extraordinary time in our careers. Like all of you, there have been many long days and sleepless nights. We moved nearly 70% of our staff to remote work in mid-March. We delayed projects and had to develop new game plans, and have worked really hard through Plan B, C, and D to make sure that we can continue to bring you the news uninterrupted, no matter what curveball is thrown at us. In the midst of so much change, though, we've seen a record number of readers and viewers turn their attention to one news organization, KTVB Idaho's News Channel 7. We've had an incredible number of people consuming our content on digital and television. A couple of months ago, we hit 4.7 million unique users in just 1 month on digital. That's more than double the population of our state. Our footprint far extends southern Idaho. And I promise you that that level of responsibility is not lost on our team. We must challenge ourselves to be elite in what we do every day. And that doesn't mean that we won't make mistakes or that we are always perfect, but there is very little room for error. We work hard to serve viewers with essential information, to answer questions, and to give a platform for community dialogue, as well as help our nonprofits who provide essential services to the most vulnerable in our community. We have taken the time to reflect about how we can do and be better. And we've had an onslaught of viewer feedback, some of it negative, but really a lot of it positive, and so many thoughtful questions and comments that have helped us in content decisions as we work through what numbers to display, what kind of context is needed, and really add to the comprehensive reporting that is needed around the impact of COVID-19. Our goal is always to provide balance and thoughtfulness. Our purpose truly is to serve the greater good of our communities. We provide the news and information that people need to function as effective citizens, and I think it's important that I explain what that means. We seek solutions to problems, and we aim to expose problems and wrongdoing. We hope to provide editorial and community leadership to promote understanding of complex issues. Honestly, we've listened and talked a lot in recent months about the importance of diverse voices. It's something that truly has carried a lot of meaning for us at KTVB since the beginning of the year. KTVB is committed to making more thoughtful editorial decisions with input from a variety of voices that better reflect our entire community. We are on a constant journey to improve, make better content decisions that bring all groups together. To that end, myself and our Director of Content, Lisa Chavez, took the time earlier this year to sit down, when we still sat down together, to hear from and learn more about thought leaders across our community. We wanted to know how we could build stronger relationships with diverse groups and communities that make up our valley. And not only that, we wanted to learn about how we could attract diverse candidates to our team. What we heard was we need to make more intentional efforts. That's intentional efforts to make those connections on a consistent basis. We need to be seeking stories not in a time of crisis or national storylines, because calling only for local reaction to national conversations just isn't enough. For me, the takeaway was as simple as getting to know your neighbor. Some people can live in the same house for years and never really know who lives next door. But the smallest effort, a simple hello, tell me about yourself and what's important to you, can really bring people together, build important connection and understanding. For us journalists, it's why we got into this business in the first place. We are curious, we love talking to people and sharing their stories, but we need to build a bigger network of relationships to accurately reflect our growing valley. And we know that we can do better. And while I think that we've had some very meaningful conversations, particularly in the past few months, there is still work to be done, and I look forward to the progress that we'll make in the year ahead, sharing more voices and diverse stories from across Southern Idaho. Now, I think a key attribute that has long set KTVB apart is our relentless pursuit to be better. We also strive to create an environment which encourages innovation and creativity. News in general has a stigma of negativity. If it bleeds, it leads, they say. More recently, I heard the term doom scrolling when people refer to their social media feeds. Here in Southern Idaho, I just don't think it's that way. We have long had the luxury of being able to share inspiring local stories. And at KTVB, we are very committed to it. We've also always been on the front edge of trying new things in our industry. KTVB was one of the first stations in the country to launch a drone many years ago, and we had the opportunity to educate other news organizations about the technology, as well as the importance of ethical journalism and safety. Our 360 storytelling is a similar story. We were out front tackling that technology and navigating the best use for immersive storytelling, and our efforts have earned our team numerous national awards for innovation, as well as speaking and training opportunities. Now, as I mentioned, with drone technology, ethics, standards, and practices are fundamental. They're really fundamental to everything that we do, every initiative, every project, every story, and every script. Our team is committed to the highest ethical standards and dedicated to the principles of truth, independence, fair play, transparency, integrity, and public interest. So that means that we uphold and defend the First Amendment. We are vigilant watchdogs. We fight to ensure the public's business is conducted in public, and we treat people with dignity, respect, and compassion. We're also fair to those who may not be used to dealing with the media. We seek all sides relevant to a story and make decisions with integrity. I had a former boss, his name is Jim Gilchrist, and he broke it down in what he called the do rights. Now, I'm not going to say it exactly how he did, but essentially, A, we do right by the people we cover or interview. B, we do right by our readers and viewers. And C, we do right by our colleagues. As a former producer, I use that filter every day, and it's something that I carry with me to this day. Now, over the last several years, we've also become known for our Verify franchise, which is an extension of our mission to report the news accurately, thoroughly, and in context. We vet sources, verify facts, and present stories in a very transparent manner. I've been invited to speak to several schools in the Valley about Verify. It truly is something that has resonated with our audience and gives us a lot of pride. When I think about our vision and mission as a news organization, I always come back to one word: connection. Our team doesn't just build connections for our audience, but also they work thoughtfully to build connections for our local businesses and nonprofits. We have a team of people who take great pride in helping local businesses grow with innovative, creative, custom advertising solutions. Our marketing experts have a track record of delivering proven solutions that help grow businesses and help our local business leaders achieve their goals. In the last 2 weeks, we launched our long-awaited and anticipated lifestyle show, Idaho Today, at 12:30 with Melissa Paul. Now, while our launch had to be pared down as we broadcast now from our station's lobby without any guests as we originally intended, we are proud to offer a platform that showcases the best of the Valley. The show is truly a celebration of our local businesses, our community, and all things that we love about living here. Already, we've been able to showcase the Boise Metro Chamber, many nonprofits, including Valley Idaho's innovative pivot to a digital season, and so much more. If you haven't seen the show, I encourage you to check it out, and we look forward to building it for all of you. I anticipate some of you might have questions about maintaining your brand or marketing during this unique time. Honestly, there is not a one-size-fits-all answer. Everyone is different, but we have to move forward. I think despite the challenges ahead, with the right effort, we can come out stronger on the other side. When it comes to messaging, you might have a similar question. You'll recall in March, there was a sweeping change in advertisements on television. Many brands shifted towards pandemic messaging. In fact, there's a really great mashup on YouTube that highlighted how we all have the same idea. Stay home, we're in this together. Lots of focus on appreciation and thank yous. It was all very great messaging. However, the most successful messaging, the brands that really hit a home run, were those that demonstrated some sort of action. For example, what they were doing to make a difference, how they were helping respond during this turbulent time. We have all heard the saying, actions speak louder than words. So that is my very, very simple advice on messaging. And I think many of you are already really good at living your brand and demonstrating via action your commitment to the community. Don't you think, particularly amidst COVID, we have seen how important community is to our daily lives? I believe KTVB is more than a broadcast television station. It's a community institution. In our business and in any business, we have the ability to make a great impact on the quality of life for those in our community. We know from research that our audience identifies KTVB as a station that understands their core values. We don't just provide content, but connection, an unmatched commitment to community service. And that's what we have in common with so many of you. And it's a commitment with so many of you. It's that commitment to community service. I know firsthand because so many of you support our community in very robust ways, whether it's volunteer programs with your staff or through generous financial support of the arts, education, and our vital services. At KTVB, we support north of 50 community projects a year. Our biggest, most important event being 7 Cares Idaho Shares, which many of you have supported for the past 13 years. What's truly remarkable about 7 Cares Idaho Shares is the collaboration among competitors. And it really gets me fired up. From the food pantries to the grocery chains, the auto dealers, the media groups, and financial institutions, all coming together to help build this community safety net to serve hungry families and the homeless. For those of you who are not familiar, 7 Cares Idaho Shares is a live telethon food drive that stretches across the Treasure Valley and Twin Falls. Drop-off locations include Albertson Stadium at Boise State University, 8 Fred Meyer stores, and 29 Albertson stores across the Treasure Valley and Twin Falls. It was Doug Armstrong's vision to rebuild the pioneer spirit of neighbor helping neighbor. By connecting the community at large and our business community to the need around us, every year in December, we have come together in a big way to make sure our food pantries have fully stocked shelves and full purses for winter, because the need for food, shelter, and aid grows every single year. I actually produced that very first televised 7 Cares Day, as we called it back then. And it's truly remarkable to see how this community drive has grown thanks to our many generous partners. It belongs to all of us, whether you contribute a single canned food item or pallets of food, whether it's a $50,000 check or a $50 check, or the young child who shows up to dump their piggy bank. I know the need will be greater than ever this year, so I invite all of you to participate in 2020, because every donation, big or small, makes a difference. Together, we can help our community get through this time. And frankly, we have to tackle community problems as a team, and I think there's no better community than ours to do it. So please, if you've never participated and are interested, reach out to me, kmorris@ktvb.com, and I would be happy to share more information. Now, before I get to your questions, I want to conclude with something that I think of often, and that's, what will media look like in 90 days? How about a year or beyond? It's something that I've thought about for many years, and I really don't know the answer. I don't think any of us could have predicted the challenges and, frankly, incredible innovations that we've had to come up with on the fly this year. I do believe credibility and trust are the foundations to our future success. I can tell you that my team has a deep desire to produce relevant news and journalism. The need for quality local journalism the past 5 months has given our team confidence in our future relevance. We've said it for decades, news is our heart and community service is our soul. And that gives our organization an added sense of purpose and contribution to our community. We have built a desirable audience position as the undisputed leader across platforms. And this year, we brought revolutionary change to our shows with the launch of the 208 at 5 p.m. We made a bold decision to abandon a tired and stale format in favor of exceptional viewer experience through quality journalism and the use of a tool that allows our audience to engage with us in real time. It truly is an immersive experience that has helped us reach our aspirational audience, but has also delighted our loyalists. Viewpoint has also been a great platform during the last 5 months for our community dialogue to really dive deep into the biggest issues. It airs on Sunday mornings, but it's a program that I would encourage you to set a regular DVR recording. Now, we understand the importance of supporting local journalism and all local journalists, which led to a strategic partnership with one of the fastest growing print papers in the country, the Idaho Press. Idaho Press publisher Matt Davison and I entered this partnership with one goal in mind, and that was simply to better serve the community as a whole. At KTVB, our strategy over the next 18 months will continue to focus on better serving you all and building meaningful connections throughout our community. I'll leave you with one last quote, and I apologize, I don't know the author. It's something I wrote in a notebook, but it's been a meaningful guide to me. We are not yesterday's mistakes, nor can we be yesterday's accomplishments. We have to be elite every day, and at Idaho's News Channel 7, we are always seeking to raise the bar and set the gold standard. And with that, I'm going to invite two guests to join me for question and answer. You all know award-winning journalist Mark Johnson, and also joining us is our Director of Content, Lisa Chavez, who's a graduate of Boise State. She's also been with KTVB for 20 years. Mark, I know you were wanting to start by giving a quick tour of the station where we have not very many people working to bring the news to our audience every day. Most people are working from home.
That's right. Thanks, Kate. I have never used the words working remotely more than I have in the last 5 months in the 40 years that I have been in the television news business. I want to show you guys that are watching right now a little behind the scenes look at what a day in the life of the Channel 7 studios looks like. I'm going to change this camera. The timing is really good because we're doing the noon show right now, and you can see Maggie O'Meara is out there in the studio. She is working alone in the studio. Our meteorologist Jim Duthie is in there as well. I believe we're in a break, so I can come in there real quick, and this will kind of pull back the curtains. Oh, I need to pull my mask up. Hi, Maggie. You're live right now in the CEO Speaker Series from the Boise Metro Chamber of Commerce.
Hi, everyone.
I've got a quick question for you. How do you think the newsroom has adapted during these pandemic times with everyone, including your producer right now, working remotely? And you can see no one in the studio, even the camera operator is working remotely.
You know, I think we've done a good job. I mean, it's kind of lonely here, I have to say.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's just me by myself. But, you know, we're doing the best we can under these circumstances and honestly learning new ways to make the news happen, which has been really actually a learning opportunity for so many of us, Mark, because we've always thought we had to be here to make it happen.
Right.
Looks like we can make it happen anywhere.
Right. So. What is that holster you have down there below your knee? Anyway, we'll get to more on that in a moment. That is her wireless microphone and her wireless, we call IFB system, so that she can listen to her director. But I want to show you something, you guys, that is really going to bring this point home. We have over 40 full-time news employees. And at any given Wednesday at noon, half of those employees would be in here. We would have 15 to 20 producers, reporters, photographers, editors. There's our managing editor, Gary Salzman, right now. He is managing all of the crews that we have working remotely. 2 editors. There you go. There's Nick and Teresa. But look at this empty newsroom. And again, this is the way that most newsrooms in our, well, all of the newsrooms in our company are working right now. Oh, Kate mentioned the Idaho Press. Look at that. There we go. We've got that proudly displayed on our whiteboard, which is a red board. This is the hallway where our reporters do a lot of their remote stories. Oh, I've also got a fan that follows me wherever I go. I've got one fan. That never gets old. That never gets old. I want to show you real quick. I know we want to get to questions that you guys might have, but I love the fact that all over the television station, there are signs, restricted areas. You have to wear masks. This is our production control room. Only engineers and those that are running the newscasts are allowed to be in there. Our lunchroom, the same thing, one person, masks required. We have clean rooms in case there is an outbreak where people need to go and know that no human has gone into these rooms since April. Clean rooms. Now, here's the coup de grace. I'm going to the sales office. And again, on Wednesday afternoon, we would have a dozen or more sales reps, and it is totally empty. Everyone is busy. They're working at home. They're busy working at home, calling their clients, and engaging to keep the television station on the air. And to your point, Kate, this would have been the week, the month that Tokyo would have happened on NBC. Let's change this. There we go. It's going to happen. It's going to be next year, though. So again, in 40 years of television news, never before have I ever seen anything like this before. And again, masks required when you're not at your desk. I don't know if you guys use these Lycra, these kind of malleable masks.
I think you're breaking up a little bit, Mark. I know there's so many different types of masks that people are using. So I want to
out. But wait, Kate, you know the other thing it does? It filters things coming in.
Yes, that's not something I would recommend, Mark. So it looks like we have a couple of questions. One of them was, how has our team balanced sharing positive stories in the community with the weight of the pandemic on everyone's minds? You know, this one has been something that we as a leadership team have talked about so much. It's really, really tricky, especially with so many people working remote. I know that we have staff members who are really eager to get back into the building. It can be lonely not having that sense of community and that collaboration and that connection with your colleagues. So that's something that that's been on our mind, and we've tried all sorts of things. But I think the number one most important thing is communication and transparency, so that your team knows that you have their back and that they have confidence. For those that are working in the building, we have tried to do little things like making sure there's prepackaged snacks for the staff, that we make their life at the station as easy and seamless as possible. Lisa, what would you like to add, or Mark?
Well, I think that, you know, it's something that we've put a priority on as far as sharing the good news that's out there that's coming from the community. We actually have a good news segment that we do in the morning show every day. And a lot of those ideas are coming from the viewers through social media, and just to try to be uplifting and be transparent that, you know, there is good happening, as well as trying to explain all that's happening in with the pandemic, and try to be really balanced, so that you know, it's not all doom and gloom when we produce a show. We'd like to have a little bit of fun with the viewers as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I apologize, I read both questions and I answered the culture question first, even though I read you guys the one about positive stories. I think positive stories too is something that our station has long had a commitment to telling inspiring local content. It's something that's woven into the fabric of our staff. So that's not something that's too hard for us to tackle. We make it a priority to make sure that we're telling those really positive, uplifting, inspiring stories that are happening in our community. We want people to feel connected to the community, and that's the only way to do that is really through inspiring local storytelling.
Yes. Mark,
what are some of the favorite stories that you've seen that we've done over the last several months that are really just awe-inspiring?
Well, I was tickled we were able to engage with Maggie just a moment ago. Her Sunday night Sevens Heroes pieces have been home runs each and every week, and that's hard to say about a franchise piece, right? That's a regularly scheduled piece. They don't always hit the mark. For some reason, hers do, and every single one really resonates. Stations all across the country want to broadcast Maggie's stories in their markets. I really enjoy that Sunday feature, and I think it's a moment too that people can say, okay, to your point about Doug Armstrong and the pioneer spirit, Idahoans helping Idahoans, those stories are so prevalent and they're out there. And I love the fact that we have a platform to show those every Sunday night.
Okay, so back to the question that I accidentally answered first. That was, how do we maintain company culture as we can continue to work remotely? And, that's the one where I think communication is and transparency is so important with your staff. Doing little things, calling to check in on people as often as possible, picking up on cues that, people are feeling stressed. Our industry is exceptionally stressful at times. So that's something that's definitely been on our mind, is how do we not burn out the staff when we're covering the same stories, every single day. But our team has risen to the occasion. And I just, one really inspiring night was when the earthquake happened. I think it was after 6 o'clock in the evening. And we didn't have to call staff to come and help cover that breaking news story. They were already working remote, and they hopped on from home. And I remember Larry Gebert came in from home. And we just really, it was one of the most proud moments I've seen of our staff, just really rallying to make sure that people had the information and the confidence that it wasn't going to be another earthquake and where it came from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it can be really, really difficult, because normally my producers are right there, right? I can turn around and ask my 4 o'clock producer at 3 in the afternoon, this is happening, what are we going to do about this? Now I get on the phone, I get on a text, I get on an email, and now you have to go through that channel to talk to your producer about something. So it does take a little longer, but it's also something that we've all maneuvered through, right? I mean, everybody's dealing with it. Anchors, reporters, photographers, editors, they're all dealing with this new way of broadcasting local television news. And I have to say, it's working here. Yeah,
it really is. It truly is working. And frankly, that's why we still have about 30% of our staff's in the building, 34%. And the rest are still working remotely. And frankly, at the moment, we're not in a hurry to change that, because it is working. And, our goal is ultimately just to keep our employees safe and make sure that we can continue to bring the news uninterrupted.
Hey, Kate, can I answer Corey Serber's question here? Corey asks, and this is a great one, do you have support resources like EAP or counseling for your media staff who are constantly bombarded with name calling, insults, and threats? That is a great question, Corey. And for me, it hits really close to home, because I'm a little embarrassed to say this, and Kate and Lisa, I'm glad that my review is already over, so this isn't factored into that. But I rarely, if ever, answer the newsroom phone. I have a lot of things going on that I have to do for shows and stories and things like that, and I rarely answer the phone. But in the last 5 months, I found that I have to, that I need to, even though we've got our operators working remotely, our receptionists are working remotely, I still have to answer the phone. And in my life, I have never taken so many calls from so many despondent people, desperation, depression, borderline suicidal. And I'll tell you, it's been hard, Corey. But it gives me also that ground level view of what this is really doing to some people out there. And that's another reason why I'm really glad we kicked off our Hello Idaho platform, our Hello Idaho campaign, to kind of deal with that. Local police have said they've never been on so many domestic abuse calls, so many child abuse calls in their lives than they are right now. So that's been hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have EAP and services, and we really try and make sure that we're calling and checking in on our staff who are dealing with a lot of really heavy calls, feedback, some of it really negative. But, honestly, I think oftentimes it's really balanced out when we're able to tell super inspiring stories that really give us so much sense of purpose. And I think that all of the thank you emails that we get, and really the constructive criticism that we get, the thoughtful questions that the viewers engage with us on that help us do better work, has really been meaningful too for the staff. So I think that every bit of that helps. So thank you to those who have who've reached out to our station, our staff members with support, and thank yous for the great work that they've been doing. So let me see. I don't know if there's any more questions in here, or if that's
yeah,
we're ready to wrap it up.
There are. This is a good one from Rick Tromey. One of the advantages of a decentralized workplace and workforce is it can be more fluid and fast to change. He says, thank you, KTVB, for showing us a bit of the future of the work. His question is this now the new norm for television stations?
I definitely don't think it'll be the new norm. Again, I think that the lack of connection that we have with our colleagues is something that we're really missing, especially, we're 5 months going into 6 months of working remote with so many of our staff members. So I definitely don't think it's the norm going forward. I do think that we'll see a lot of innovation and change at a lot faster pace ahead, but I definitely am eager to get all of our staff back together, hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah, and to Kate's point, and I think Maggie even brought this up, the whole suddenly we need to get so many people out of the building and still do live news. It forces so much innovation and thinking outside of the box, and where those are always been our goals, but to have that timeline sped up because you have to have something done by the end of the week, it just really, it helps open up your mind a little bit and think about how we do things. Also, another nice thing that's I think come out of the more of the virtual thing is we get to talk to so many more people than maybe traditionally, where it's like you call and you have to set up an interview and, try to find time to meet them with a big television camera. Whereas, our reporters can connect and do interviews with 3, 4, 5 people a day if they need to. And so it helps us to get more voices out there because it is easier to connect. So that is something that I've found to be positive news that's kind of come out of the pandemic and the work from home challenges and situations that we've dealt with.
Here's another one for you, Lisa. Bree Brush wants to know, how has your team balanced sharing positive stories in the community along with the weight of the pandemic on everyone's mind? I think she wants to know, where is the balance between having to get out the bad news and wanting to balance it with a little bit of positive and good news?
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about that a little bit earlier with the sevens heroes, and we've got the good news, and you have things that are topical and talkers that you want to get in the news at 4, and then we also have the 208 they do a lot of like the history of Idaho, and I think that it's important that as a news organization that we really are balancing all of our storytelling. Like, we do have to provide context. There's the watchdog and holding folks accountable, but then we also want you to enjoy watching us and connect with our people, because we're part of the community too, and we want to tell your stories. The new tools that we've had in 2020 with ZipWhip, that's, you wouldn't know what that means, but the new thing where you can text us, send us pictures and your comments, and we can share those on air, have just been incredible to virtually connect more with the audience right now as well. So I think that we've always done a good job of that with, we've have our Idaho Life and our Seven Heroes and our good news, but also the 7 Investigates and those sorts of things, and just trying to, as Kate would say, as a producer, you have to produce the show to find that balance between sharing the good news and making you feel proud to be part of this community, but also learning what's out there and knowing what you need to know.
And I would add that I think it's really why KTVB has long been a community institution in the Valley. Again, I grew up here watching Channel 7, and it was always those stories that really brought us together and connected us that set KTVB apart, and still does to this day. So if we weren't doing those inspiring stories that really brought us together and made us feel proud of where we live and the community that we live in. I don't know that we would be as successful as we are today.
I love that Reed Coy asks this question, because Reed, this is a question that I would love to get the answer to from our leadership team. And this is the perfect place for this. Reed asks, I know none of us really know how long this will go, much longer than any thought it would. How long are you professionally and mentally preparing for this pandemic to go on?
Well, Reed, I've had virtual town halls with our KTVB staff several times over the last 5 months, and it's something that I try and address as transparently as possible with our team. You know, ultimately, we need to be nimble. No one can predict the future. You know, we were aiming for maybe September that we would start getting our staff back into the building, and that seems like it's pushed out with the surging cases across Idaho. Particularly in Ada County. So for the time being, we're just asking everyone to, you know, from our viewpoint, our staff to keep us informed of what resources do they need, do they have everything they need to do their job effectively, just to open that line of communication and get their feedback, knowing that we just are uncertain what that timeline looks like, and it very well could go through the end of the year.
I know I'm prepared for that. Kate, I'm prepared for that, and potentially even longer.
Yeah, absolutely.
All we can do is watch the data and, you know, and take away what we can learn from it.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think ultimately we all have to be nimble and flexible in this time, and supportive of one another, gracious towards one another. I think that one of the things that I've also noticed is that there's the fatigue that sets in, and we just need to have empathy for everyone's situation, for everyone's viewpoints, because at the end of the day, if we can't have conversations, then we can't come together and solve problems together as a group. All right, I think that's it, Mark. You want to wrap it up for us?
I do. First of all, I want to thank everyone for watching, first of all, and for your comments today. This is a very important element for the Chamber, who has, as always, has a close partnership with its sponsors. And first of all, you can see at the top of your screen, thank you to Bank of America for your continuing presence in this most worthwhile ongoing event. Thanks to B of A. And also thanks to Regents, as you can see at the bottom of your screen, the Blue Cross of Idaho, the Boise Airport, and the Idaho Business Review. Your sponsorship is critical. And also, this is pretty incredible. Despite these pandemic times, the Boise Chamber remains very active for its membership. Next week, the annual Small Business of the Year and Chamber Excellence Awards will go on. That's next Wednesday, August 26th, beginning at noon on the Chamber's Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and blog pages. And then on September 23rd, Mayor Lauren McLean's State of the City address will also be streamed, sponsored by the Chamber, via the Chamber's Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and blog pages. I think that's it, unless there's anything else, Lisa, Kate, you wanted to mention?
No, thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Okay, well, that'll do it. As I like to say, at the end of every phone call that I field, whether it's positive or not so positive, thank you for watching.